There's way, 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 way less competition than you think. When I first started off in making manga and comics, webcomics, I thought I would be competing against everybody for a very small share of the pie in terms of available people to become fans of my work. But it's actually not like that at all. It's a lot different from where I'm standing compared to where I started off. I thought I would be basically using my art to fight against everybody and beat people's ass with my art, with my comics and stuff. But really, it's not like that. I wanted it to be like that for so long because I'd read Bakuman and there was just this real fun sense of healthy competition portrayed in that story, where if you're working for Shonen Jump, you're competing against the other creators to make it to the top of the magazine and to get your own anime and to go worldwide and all that stuff. But there's a few factors that actually make that possible in that system compared to self-publishing in America, where in Shonen Jump, every comic is shonen by default. They have to be within certain specific guidelines in order to compete against each other. Secondly, even within those guidelines, there's certain types of comics that are guaranteed to do the highest numbers compared to the other comics that are not destined to make those same types of numbers no matter what they do. You have the battle manga who are at the top, then you have maybe the romance manga second, and then maybe at the very bottom you have the gag manga. And the gag manga and the romance manga could switch spots depending on the week. You never really know. But the battle manga stay at the top, and then everybody else at the bottom is fighting for scraps. So it's not even like you can really compete if you're creating a genre of work that isn't that popular, because there are better selling genres that reach a wider market than the more niche genre that you might be drawing in. Say you're drawing something like Gintama. Gintama is relatively niche compared to the other manga that were running in the magazine at the time. Gintama was coming out at the same time as the big three, where you had Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, all fighting it out at the top of the magazine for the top. But those are solid battle manga versus Gintama, which is more of a gag manga with battle elements that come in from time to time. Not to mention having something like Nisekoi running at the same time, which isn't a battle manga at all. It's a romance. And with that genre, it's not really feasible to expect it to compete with something, with a juggernaut like One Piece or like Bleach or Naruto at that time, or even Hunter x Hunter. And that's just how it is in the self-publishing comic scene over here in America. Whether you're making self-published indie comics, self-published indie manga, over here in America, you really don't necessarily have to compete with anybody. I thought that's the way it would be, but it's not like that really at all. The thing is I could make Saintly, and somebody else can make a comic called Dookie Dookie Demons 6. And if they're happy making it, they win. If they have a little fan base with it, they win. If they are able to make a living with it, they win. And finally, if they're able to become financially free off of their Dookie Dookie comics, then competition becomes irrelevant. It's more like you can create your own market. You can develop your own fan base, build them up, and basically show them the value of the work that you're creating. And because you might be the only one creating the specific thing that they're looking for, and it's something that with the back and forth between you and your audience, you can hone in on and really, really cement your place in that niche, you don't have to fight anybody else for that same spot unless you're trying to do the most generic style that anyone else can copy. Once you lock in and hone in on the style that only you can do, the storytelling that only you can provide, competition between others slowly becomes irrelevant. And then the only competition that you actually have is between yourself and yourself. And I used to think that was lame. Anytime I heard somebody say, oh, your only competition is yourself, I understood it logically, like, okay, yeah, but I still want to beat everyone's ass. But now that I'm actually in it, like actually creating my own work, I realize that it's not like that at all. And a lot of people will take themselves out of the game. A lot of people will fail whether you succeed or not. And it's not always a failure that's reflective of their character. Some people will fail because they either can't work with people, or they make too many enemies, or they're bad with their fan base. But then there's people who slow down or can't work as much because of health issues, or because they started a family, or because of financial issues. A lot of financial issues will get people taken out faster than anything else. It could also be a self-belief thing that they don't want to, they don't believe that they can actually make it in comics. And it could also be that they're not even really aiming to make it in comics, or to make it big in comics. A lot of people just want to have fun drawing and draw the characters that they like and put it out there. Not everybody's aiming to become like this big, rich, famous, hotshot, comic creator or whatever. Most people are just trying to have fun or relax with their characters, or play some games and draw some stuff. And so they're not even in the game, quote unquote, to begin with. It's only a select few weirdos who are compelled to make comics a living no matter what, that continue on the path, struggling against fate to create the work that they have in their mind and show other people what they got. Even within the sphere of webcomics, most people are doing it for fun. Like, they'll draw something after work, and then maybe they'll sell it on the weekends at shows or something like that. Webtoons is a completely different matter. It's basically like Shonen Jump if you're in the original section. But if you're like any other webcomic artist, you're just trying to make fun stories and, put your OCs in actual situations in a story that either continues or is made into like a comic strip on the web. And in that, you really don't have anybody else to fight except all the things that could stop you from making your own work. Like, even if somebody tried to make something like Saintly with two girls doing some supernatural stuff, my two girls have all the sauce. So it would just be a completely different story if anyone else tried to do what Saintly is trying to do. And instead of competing, this is the story that I'm using to try to make my mark on comics, webcomics, and the medium of sequential storytelling as a whole. It's my supernatural horror story called Saintly. It is a demon chase horror action comedy about two best friends who have to outrun the demon loan sharks that they borrowed from. Basically, it's like Scooby-Doo meets K-pop Demon Hunters without the K-pop. And the story backs the main character into a corner where she has to decide between the hard path to success or lose her soul to the lure of easy money. And we get to see the ramifications of her choice, and if she can hide this deal with the devil from her friend, or if it will tear them apart. And I hope you read my comic in the description and check out the story. It should appear in your email inbox or your spam folder if you don't see it. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.